human safety, if we focus on this particular eighth foundation point, then we can easily, conclude it that if there is good house, there is good food, shelter, medicine, people can think out of the box, and they can do and they can serve the society too. But as far as this, as we have discussed, that there are refugees, there are people who don't have the basic facilities, who are facing psychological and emotional trauma, and all humanitarian laws and international court of justice and tribunals which are made for particular point, they're also not doing well. So this is something I believe that from that forum, if human safety is one element, like for example, if we generate some money for them, we can provide them the basic, then they can think something extraordinary. They don't need to think about that if they have feed one day and they are not looking for the other day. If they have proper food, they have proper medicine, they have a little bit good shelter, then definitely they can go for stability, and they can think of coming out from the crisis which they are facing, and they can move better. So this is what I think.
Thank you so much. Yes, what you were just talking about is very, very important, and exactly that's what Creative Society is trying to do. And also thank you to all of you for your sincere answers. And now let's watch a video, short video from the conference that shows exactly how we are being fooled and how our resources are being diverted into someone's pockets instead of providing benefit to all humanity. And most importantly, how our attention is being pointed away from the most important topics.
So you've just seen what's actually happened to our planet, that catastrophe is happening on each level, whether it's climate, ecology, or the number of cataclysms that happen. And yet, all that we hear from the news is just that we have to spend more money on reducing CO2 level emissions. This is so ridiculous. And how is this global fraud is just keeping us blind from what's happening, when we just saw that each day, not a single week is happening without a huge, massive cataclysm on our planet, and it's all growing, it's all going upwards. And still, all we see that those who are in power care about is making money. Nobody cares about human lives. Onyekachi, Ololo, could you please comment on what you've just seen, and what do you think is the reason of such a behavior of our civilization?
It is, for me, it is striking that these issues continue to happen, and we seem not to see something tangible that the government globally is doing towards this. Most times, it's usually on YouTube that we see these videos, and many times when we see these videos on YouTube, because you are the comfort of your home, of course, if it has happened to you, you will not even be talking of viewing YouTube. You'll be looking for safety. You'll be looking for how to live. You'll be looking for help. You'll be praying for humanitarian aids to come to you. So for us to be watching these videos through our devices, maybe through YouTube as a platform, it shows that somehow we are the comfort of our homes. And when we see these disgusting and pathetic and mind-chilling videos, we seem to forget that these are humans also. These are human beings. They have families. Some of them are breadwinners. Some of them are already suffering, and they are being met with this level of catastrophic effects with no hope coming on around the corner. These things happen, and it's very, very striking, and it's a serious cause for concern. Because over the years, no matter what we cry for, no matter the level of development, infrastructural development that a country or a state would have had, with just one attack, it can crumple a lot of activities. So we think conversations also need to be channeled towards this kind of events, that it is very, very important that there should be a strong policy by the politicians to meet up to the needs of the citizens. And we need to be very, very proactive rather than being reactive. But the truth is, even in the advanced world, where we are crying that they need to be proactive, in Africa, really, they are not even reactive. Many times when some of these issues happen, nobody even come to you, nobody come to save you. The government officials are just busy. They are interested in their political, to score political points. Whenever they gather, what they're looking for is trying to make their political schemings. Who would go? Who would win? What are you? I mean, that's what they're interested in. There is not even, at least in the advanced world, after such events, you see humanitarian aids coming, maybe after some hours. But in Nigeria, to be specific, hours, months, you don't even see any help at all. For us, it's inhuman, and it's against the spirit of creative society. And for me, I would recommend that all the political actors in Nigeria try to become members of creative society, so that they'll be tutored on the principles of creative society. When they imbibe that, I bet you the citizens would be better for it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this very valuable input. And next question goes to Alace. Alace, could you please also comment on this video? Like, what strikes you the most about these things?
Sure, absolutely. So I really like not just the detail and the impartiality with which the videos are done, but I also think that it helps if people just take the time to watch them, to see and think, well, let's think about our politicians, the people that are in power, the various governments and large industrial corporations. And let's just consider logically why they don't want to address this. And it's the entire concept of this consumerism, the pursuit of the almighty dollar, so to speak. They don't really care about human life. And when you realize that every human life has value, and that we all want to live. We all deserve to live. We all deserve to have the same freedoms and basic, not just economic, but just knowing that everybody's needs on a basic level are met, and that everybody's thoughts and lives have a meaning and a purpose, and that we are all born free and equal. Then you can't help but realize that the entire premise of creative society and what we're trying to do is something that we have to do as a species if we care to live. If you want to live, then you're going to have to realize that everybody is born free and equal, and that the only way to do that is from the principles of the creative society and implementing that in everybody's lives. Because on any given day, anybody can become a refugee. Anybody can lose their entire house, their entire everything, and just be lucky enough to get by with their life. Well, if that can happen to anybody, then the amount of money that you may or may not have in your bank isn't going to matter.
Absolutely, Alace. And thank you so much for pointing that out, that anyone can become a refugee. This is a very connected topic. And we have one video about the life of refugees, because people do not realize how fragile our social life is today. Anyone can lose everything in just one day. And then what are these people left with? And any one of us can be in their shoes at any moment. So let's watch this video and discuss this topic afterwards.
Why is there such inhuman treatment of people? I was thinking about it and decided to figure it out.
You will never spend a month without being attacked with a xenophobic attack, because they say as a foreigners we are stealing their work. I've lost that hope of being in the great society. I don't know, I've lost that hope, because seeing the way that people are being killed, seeing the way that people are being shot in my eyes.
A child can be sold many times. I remember one day I came across the story of a girl who was, she was Turkish. She had been sold 17 times, and she had been trafficked from one country to another 17 times, and she had experienced only rape.
I also sat in many auctions as a customer, as an undercover when I was doing the undercover. We were sitting for the auctions, 9-year-old girl, 10-year-old girl, as per the demands. So the trade called the first time sex. Whenever the auctions will happen, new girls arrive in the trade, so they put the auctions. So who will bid the last demand, the money, that person only will use that victim full night for his choice.
The business that is made of spare parts, the human spare parts. How many children have been transferred from one place to another and then being operated on for some rich guys in different parts of the world to get a kidney or get something else from their bodies against their will.
Black markets, traffickers, mafia is part of this economy that is ruling the world. So what else I can say? That I only see that the other possibility is to spend money instead of constructing walls like we are doing in Europe.
In our society, human life has no value. How is it possible that instead of help, people encounter violence, aggression, abuse, and slavery? This is not a migration crisis, but this is a crisis of humaneness.
People, by looking at the existing legal frame, will not ever be entitled asking for protection. Because you will ask them which country you're coming from, they will say there is no country. I had a country called X, but the country now is underwater, or I had a village and this village is being totally destroyed or disappearing.
It turns out that there are still no effective programs for the resettlement of refugees. For so many years, the United Nations has been working. For so many years, the Refugee Rights Commission has been working. So many humanitarian organizations and NGOs around the world have been working, but there are no working, established or adopted programs on how to work with these refugees. There are none. And the Refugee Commission itself admits this.
Now refugees are forced to leave their homes. They face condemnation and cruelty. They are left alone with their misfortune because of the consumerist format of society. Tomorrow's climate catastrophes could be upon us as well. Answer yourself honestly. Are you ready to face what refugees face? Are you sure you won't be in their shoes? That you and your loved ones won't have to go through what they're going through.
This shocking video is only showing a small part of the terror that people have to go through. And if you haven't seen the whole video, I highly recommend to all of you to watch it on Creative Society platform in multiple languages, the documentary about the life of refugees, which was shown at the Global Crisis Time for the Truth conference in December of last year. And now my next question is to Khadija. Could you please tell us, how do you see this topic and share your vision with us?
Thank you so much. Yes, I believe that I agree with the point that anyone can be in that particular situation for any time. You never know, because you were mentioning about politicians and their rule, but I believe that climate is also one of the most important thing, which is changing day by day, and you don't know that the village is no more there and the people are migrated from one place to another, so you don't know about that. So in my opinion, if we need to build a status quo, or we need to build something like a balance in the world, we have to take care of and take measured steps to help them, because they are increasing day by day. People are not so much peaceful in nature, wars. So these are the things which are continuing in the process, and we can't change those. And we can't change the climate too, because it is also unpredictable. We have seen the pandemic situation in the world, and that is transferred from one part to another. So these are the natural disasters as well, which are pushing towards the life to be as huge. So we are, so in my opinion, as if you ask me, we have looked this thing with the solutions of human health, human cause, human life, and humanity. These are the things, if we cater each individual, like for example, in my country, we have funds for this particular hospital, this particular thing. We never have any international body is working for the donation of this thing. Individual can go to the particular bank and said that I need to transfer this money for this cause, for example, the recent crisis, but there is no system for that. So governments, I don't want to say that they should not have rivalries, because that is in the nature of human being. We can't change that, So, but at least we can say that you can have, and everyone can have access towards these particular causes, and each individual. For example, you are providing a forum of creative society where you are discussing that thing. At least our voices are going towards that we believe in equality, we believe in, we don't believe in racism, we don't believe in any creed kind of a concept. We believe in a unanimous or unity. But this concept should be, explained to the rest of the world, with the other things, because in our routine or daily lifestyle, we don't care about that. Have somebody in other part eaten the food or not? It's nothing to do with the politicians. We don't care about that. So everyone should think like that.
Yes, some very good points that each one of us has to let the people know about this discussion. And like the most simple thing we can do is to share the link to this video on our social media. And let me ask you, our dear guests, would you like to add something on topic of refugees?
I would be happy to add something. I
yes.
think that as somebody who lives in the United States of America, we don't really, as a country, understand or even empathize when it really comes to refugees. And the political situation has really lent to, in my opinion, caring less about people that maybe look different than we think that the typical American looks like. But the reality of the situation is that the United States of America was founded on immigrants and from refugees. And so it's very hypocritical to not care about other people that are in the same situation that perhaps our ancestors were in a very short time ago. My family was here a long time ago, but I know the vast majority of my friends, their family just came to the United States of America within the last 2-3 generations. When you consider a generation is only about 20 years, that is not that much time. And it's very hypocritical not to think about others the way that they were treated. You know, like if your family was allowed to come over here and immigrate, to be refugees and to find that asylum and that care, then shouldn't we do that for everybody? And again, that's just exactly why we need the creative society and why we need to do this, because it is something that turns it into everybody's responsibility. It isn't just a responsibility for a country where I happen to live. It is a responsibility for every human to care about everybody else and to realize that any problem that can happen to me or anybody else tomorrow could happen to you and your family the day after that.
Thank you so much, Alice. I actually wanted to add something to this because, like you were saying, like it's happening in the United States of America. I will tell for myself, born in Europe. I also lived in the United States for almost 10 years. I also had this, I lived in a bubble. If I tell myself, I live in a bubble because, everything was okay. Economical situation is, kind of stable. And I had no clue, actually, what is going on around me. And actually, these forums and these conferences opened my eyes, because now in a preparation for the forum, we are creating the movies. And I had to watch a lot of documentary movies to, first of all, understand the topic for myself, and also to open my mind and find an interesting way how to, show this movie to other people. And I have to say that I was shocked. I'm watching these documentary movies from all different countries. What is happening to these refugees? What is happening to little children? How parents are selling their organs, their kidneys, other parts of livers to support their hungry children. So they sell one of their child to support the other children. For instance, in Pakistan, it's happening. And I'm just for $800, for instance, or something very small sum for, American, for instance, $800 is nothing, right? You cannot even pay rent with that sometimes in certain areas. And so for me, it was really eye-opening. And I realized that we have to change this on the global level. This is not something, can be changed in one country. This is something has to be implemented all around the world. Because the lady in the refugee documentary movie was saying that there is mafia, there are people who are behind this, there's a business, there's a black market going on, and so on. So it doesn't help just change in one country. This has to happen globally. We have to implement the creative society everywhere, in every single country. This is I think the only way we can eradicate this, horrible, inhumane treatment which is going on, with children, with women, with refugees, and it can happen to any of us actually pretty soon. So I just wanted to add to this, and maybe Onyekachi, you also would like to add something to this topic.
Yeah, I wanted to share my thought on this. The fact is this: when I was going through the documentary, I was asking myself some pertinent question around who are the enablers of what is going on. I mean, these refugees never asked for the situation that they found themselves. And I believe just like every normal human being, every freeborn, even aspiring to be a governor, aspiring to be a president, aspiring to be a medical doctor, aspiring to be, these refugees also have their aspirations, right? And if they have their aspirations, I believe they have the right to pursue that aspiration. I mean, that is just what life is all about. We are born, we live our life trying to achieve, to make an imprint that is positive in the world, and then we go off. And the question is, when we go off, what are we remembered for? And we cannot be remembered for anything if we don't identify with a cause. For me, that is one reason why I'm identified with Creative Society. But that apart, having understood that this target audience did not really wish, and they've never for once wished for it, it means then that it can happen to anybody. No matter the level of pity that we want to put on them, it goes beyond showing them pity, actually. The next big question is, who are the enablers? Every state has an architecture of operation, right? They have the way they work. They have their security architecture. They have their intelligence unit. So does it then mean that these states have suddenly stopped working? The reports that they get have suddenly stopped using it. So there are enablers, and these enablers, how do they really relate with the government in power that is making them to be shielded? Apart from that level, then there are those who are the beneficiaries. Sometimes you see strong citizens who are beneficiaries to this. Other times you see people who are romancing, who have whatever relationship with the government, also as beneficiaries to this. It's unfortunate that this is happening. And the truth is, if we think we have political power, and then because of our political power, we can do what we want to do, remember, nature would never allow us be. I mean, 2020, we just came out of a heavy pandemic, which happened, which killed a lot of people. And so even if you think in Nigeria, there are top politicians that died from that pandemic that happened. So you see, their politics, their power could not even save them. So when nature comes, it comes and it strikes and hits on anybody. That is the reason why we need to be very, very careful. And for me, I'm looking at the path of justice and equality of one of the principles of Creative Society. And that is where we need to speak up for these people. We really need to make them understand that beyond what is happening to them, there is a lot that needs to be done. And as social and development workers, what is the structure on ground? Who can they even run to? I mean, I will keep saying this. They fight for asylum, nothing happens. They begin to play politics. You see people playing politics with human lives. When you see people talking about money, about human life, let's imagine these refugees being us. How would we want to be treated, really? How would we want the government policies to influence what happens to us? If we bring up this kind of question, then we would better appreciate the situation. I know that these people did not wish for what they are passing through. And it is only by the policies of the government that they can get at least that Eldorado that they seek. But since the government is not doing anything, the citizens need to come together globally with one voice in a platform to really push for that cause. Otherwise, nobody knows who it can happen to the next minute.
This is actually amazing to hear what you're saying. You're basically voicing the very same human request that unites all people, because all of us, we basically want the same thing. It's very interesting how when you speak person to person, then it doesn't matter which country you're from. You want the very same thing. You want safety, you want life to be protected, and you want to be sure that if anything happens, you will be in safety, because on the other side of the border, the very same people as you are going to help you, and you are going to help them if they need your help. And this is basically amazing thing that we know that all people want this to happen. But then the question arises, okay, but we live in a world where these policymakers, politicians, they have power. How can we change something? And here, for all our viewers, this is actually a very important part to talk with you about the solution part, and how, after seeing all the challenges we're seeing right now, how we come into the solutions. And how can we switch from this consumeristic world in which money, profit above everything, to a different way of living where money is just working to improve human life, to make our world a safer place, and human life is on the first place. And when we want to build this new format of living, the foundation which unites all of us is the 8 foundations of the creative society. You know that creative society can be implemented worldwide in 3 very simple steps. And the first step is what we're doing here right now. We communicate and we inform one another about the possibility of building the creative society, the safe, prospering society based on 8 foundations. And why do we inform people? To create an electoral request, to create people's request to implement the 8 foundations on the legal level around the world, in each country separately according to the constitution, but globally, make it globally. And that is what honest people are doing around the world, not because they're being paid. Nobody's being paid here. We all do it because we want to live. We want to live in a prospering, beautiful, safe, creative society. And the second step after that will be the political stage. This is when we say, okay, we are people of certain country. We want to live in creative society. We don't care which politician is going to make it happen, but we only going to vote for that politician who is willing to implement the 8 foundations of the creative society on a legal level. You can create political parties in different countries, but the idea has to be the same. Creative society where politics is being used as a tool for unification of people and not for division as it is being used today. And then after we've seen in multiple countries around the world, people created this request, elected officials who implemented 8 foundations on the legal level, we say, okay, now we can have world referendum to actually unite our world into one beautiful society where people live as one family, actual creative society. Do we want that? Ask people around the world and see what the answer is going to be. This is the beautiful idea that is actually much simpler than when we talk about it step by step. And now let's watch a short video called I Am a Human Being that was made by our participants. Let's take a look.
I am a woman. I am a wife, a mother, and a daughter, a sister, and a friend. I am a participant of the Creative Society project. I am a human being. Sometimes I'm cheerful, other times I'm tired. There are days when I have good ideas, and there are days when I don't behave very wisely. Don't be discouraged if you don't like the way I am. Keep going, don't stop. See from the other side too. Listen to other people. Be curious. Creative society is not about me and my opinions. Creative society is the conditions for your good life. The life where you don't have to fight anymore and everyone can live in abundance. You still may doubt it, but at the same time you feel that this life could be different. And perhaps you'll find that you have a lot of people around you who feel it the same. And eventually, maybe we'll discover that the creative society can be our common future. A conference is an event where people from all over the world come together. It's a good opportunity to listen to others. Because we are people and we want to live.
I really like this video because, it is made by participants from the country I'm from Slovakia. And what I really like about it is not just that, it's the fact that, she's saying that just because you don't agree with the way I'm saying things, just don't let yourself be discouraged about creative society, because all of us, may say things a little differently, but, we are all united by the same goal, by living better, in a better world, in a creative world, in a creative format. And if, some creation for me looks like this and for you maybe look like that, but, we all can unite on the same idea, which is creative society. And we understand that based on 8 foundations, it is important to put human life first. And that is like the most important thing also for me being physician. Human life is the highest value. And first foundation, actually, I would like to read it out to you because I think it's amazing. And, the great thing is that it's not going to be just on the paper, but in reality. The human life is the highest value. Life of any human has to be protected as one's own. The goal of society is to ensure and guarantee the value of each human's life. There is not and never can be anything else more valuable than a human's life. If one human life is valuable, then all people are valuable. And that's just amazing because it's just like showing that, there's no division between us. It's like Alace was saying, like we're all equal. And Alace, in your opinion, why is it important that people know about 8 foundations and are familiar with them? And also, why do you believe that creative society is our only way to survive the consumer format and global crisis?
Thank you. So I think that it is important to get to know those 8 foundations because any problems that you may be experiencing if you're new to creative society and what it is trying to bring about, when you read those 8 foundations, you can understand, you can think logically, okay, well, how does this relate to everything that's going on? And does it answer all of the questions that I may have in regard to how this would be implemented and how it would work? And if you read them, it's very clear the goal is for an entire society to live together, to value the humans. And in a consumer society, all that we're trying to do is just use everything up, just consume everything until it's all gone. Well, then what? Then everything will be gone and we will be gone as well. So what's the point of living like that? You know that it's only a matter of time before everything is gone. Don't you want to live somewhere where you know that there is going to be stability and hope for future generations, even our current generations? I think that the more that we look at the way that things are going with all of the climate change and everything that is happening, I don't think that it is very far of a jump to realize that within a matter of 2, maybe 3 generations, there won't be anything left. And if there's nothing left, then nobody can live. And isn't that why we want to be here? We want to live.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Onyekachi, I would like to ask you, when growing up as a children, each one of us, we have dreams about living in a beautiful world. What has been your vision of the world you would really like to live in? And how does it aligns with the 8 foundations? Because the story of them was that people were asking, people from different countries, what kind of society would you like to live in? And when you read them originally, did you see something in common with your previous vision of the world you would actually enjoy to live in and maybe raise kids and live as humans should?
Okay. The truth is, growing up, I've had 2 key aspirations. One, I wanted to be a Reverend Father. I wanted to be a Reverend Father because as a kid, I loved the way the Reverend Father of my parish station then handled the children that come to him. He gave us this sense of belongingness. Most times, there's something we call cataclysm for children who wants to become communicants, and then those who want to become who wants to go into the sacrament of confirmation. For Catholics to understand this. So the way the Reverend Father really took care of us made me aspired to be a Reverend Father. Then my secondary school days, I had a shift. I wanted to be a medical doctor, really. Growing up, we loved how we had this concept that medical doctors save life. And medical doctors, when you come to them, sometimes people will tell you that the people you don't lie to are the lawyers, your priest, and the medical doctor. Medical doctor, because you need to tell them what you've done and they would prescribe what you need to do to be alive. So I really love this concept of saving life. But still part of what we are talking about in a society where whatever you are dreaming, the politicians, those who are at the top of the food chain don't really care about what you do. I would not really say I did not find myself not becoming a medical doctor because of the educational challenge that we are faced with in Nigeria. I studied geology. However, being a geologist by profession, I found myself in the development sector. And I'm very happy there because it has given me opportunity to reach out to hard to reach areas. These are areas where you see people who have lost hope. You see people who, despite what the government is saying that they have done, the budget that they appropriate, the reforms that they say they have done, the roads that they claim that they've built over the radio or the television sets, when you go to these communities, these hard-to-reach communities, you will find out that they don't access education, they don't access healthcare facilities. They live literally in ruins. So I find myself encouraging these people, making them understand their rights, making them understand that their voice is important, bringing them together to come out to push. So what is important here now? If you look at the principles of the creative society, it's talking about human life, it's talking about human freedom, it's talking about the safety of humanity, it's talking about equity and justice. Above all, it's talking about even a creative society where if I want to live, you want to live, we come together to have a common front, and not the politicians, not the political players, because in quotes, they feel they are advantaged, imposing their lifestyle upon us. It's unfortunate. So for me, we are more like sojourners. We are more like advocates. We are more like development actors who have seen the light, who know the truth, who can better communicate. So it is the onus lies on us to reach out to those people who feel they don't even believe in anybody, to just have a hope. And this message I will give to them can give them a reason to live again. And you never can tell that Eldorado that we are looking for. I mean, last, I would always say, what we want on this life is a comfortable life that will be beneficial for each and every one of us. I don't know when I'm going out of the face of the earth. Even when I leave the face of the earth, I don't know where else I'm going to. But for the fact that I'm living, for the fact that I'm human, I think I deserve the basics of life. I think I deserve to live a comfortable life. I think I need to freely come to US and see creative society members. I think I really need to come to Ukraine without the fear of if I'm going to be bombed I think I need to go to any part of the world that I need to go to. So there is deeper conversation that needs to begin to come in on this. And going to them not as a refugee, not seeking asylum, but as a freeborn who have the right to life, who have the right to movement, who have the right to a society that is free for all, an open society, but we need to be creative about that.
Wow, that's an amazing, powerful message, and it really warms my heart to see people really united and speaking the same thing. And I think today we have people from all over the world speaking the very same thing: unity and live in equality in the world where people are truly have an opportunity to live their best life, and doesn't matter from which part of the world you are or any other conditions, because the essence is the same. We are all human beings. And thank you, dear guests, for your input today, for sharing your understanding with us, and also making an example of what it is to be a true hero of modern day, just by taking action, just by saying the word, spreading the truth. And it turns out that all of us, despite all the challenges that we have, we all looking for the very same solution. And solution in unification of people, in putting human life first, in implementing the foundations, the 8 simple paragraphs that could turn our society into really humane, prosperous, beautiful thing, creative society. And the only format where we can peacefully evolve as humans, as human beings, as humankind. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And also we would like to inform you that now the preparation for a huge strategically important event is already going on. It is a global forum, Global Crisis, We Are People, We Want to Live. And in the preparation for the forum, we are taking a huge number of interviews with people who faced climate cataclysms and many times lost almost everything. And these people are actually sharing with us that the real first help comes not from organizations, not from government, not some structures, but from the ordinary people. And this is really heartwarming because this shows that people are ready to unite, but we need to unite before the disasters reach our houses and destroy our planet completely, because it costs our lives and lives of people we love. And that is why it's very crucial that we are not silent, that we are talking that we are people and we want to live, and we can actually only do it together, united. And coming to the lines of the heroes, say the truth, become the speaker of the truth, bring this life-saving information to every person, share it on social media with your family, friends, colleagues at work. You can also become informational partner for the forum. And your actions can actually save billions. And we thank you so much. We thank the dear guests, and we see you at the next International Roundtable.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to have joined in this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us.